Coach Mokwena, you've long qualified, of course, for the knockout stages, but you'll be disappointed with the outcome today, of course.
Yeah, but more than just that, first, my mind is all over the place. But yeah, good afternoon to everybody, members of the media. Of course, disappointed with the result, disappointed with the performance, and just the overall application, particularly in the first half. Disappointed with the elementary mistakes that we committed for the 2 goals, because apart from that, to be honest, although we saw that the performance was not our usual performance, but in relation to the data and the important indicators for a football match, possession better, final third entries more, shots on goal more, XG slightly higher. So yeah, apart from that, very disappointing afternoon.
Questions on the floor, please.
Yes. Coach, are you also maybe equally disappointed that you couldn't take advantage of the time in which you're playing? You know, it's not always easy to get that time, but when you're going to go to an opportunity, because you have to play simultaneously with the game in Mubashir. And you know that in terms of the profile, how teams from the Maghreb region struggle at the time, that you couldn't take advantage of this.
Yeah, of course, you could already see, particularly in relation to their high press, and they pressed a little bit different than what they usually do, because Sayud, the number 10, pressed a little bit higher than he normally does, because in previous matches he drifts and he controls the deep lying defensive midfielder, but in this game he was pressing and in certain moments, most moments, to be honest, it looked like a 4-4-2 when they were out of possession, and they couldn't sustain that, and that gave us a little bit more time on the ball with our center halves. But of course, then you've got to use the ball a little bit better, and that's where our big problems were. We didn't create enough very good opportunities. We didn't. We had some shots, 3 only on target, but the reality of that is we just couldn't get going with our build-up, and after we've made that big mistake, then it affects a little bit the confidence to play from Ricardo Goss. Then it affects a little bit of confidence to play through a very, very withdrawn press, not as aggressive, but of course then you've got to try to find half spaces with your center halves to stretch a little bit the first line of their high press, and then once you can do that, you're hoping that one of the midfielders can jump into pressing one of our center backs who comes into the next line. But we couldn't get that right, and once we couldn't get that right, we then uncharacteristically started to go a little bit long to bypass the midfield. And then once we start to do that, you know that everything that comes into the air is they eat for breakfast, you know. So yeah, performance and maybe even from a tactical perspective, not a very good show.
Coach, this performance, what does it say about the guys who got opportunities today? And looking ahead to the rest of the month, the schedule, you've got a lot of matches coming up. How do you manage the next 5-6 matches which are coming up to that?
Yeah, look, first is the players at Mamelodi Sundowns always try their best to win football matches. At times, it's not always about effort. Is it about the desire? Is it about the commitment? Is it a question of the players that had opportunities? Rather, an understanding clearly from us as the technical team that we are accountable for the results. we are accountable for the performances, and sometimes it's not even about the desire, the will, the quality. You can't question the quality of our players. I mean, you have Ricardo Goss, who's got extensive international experience, Bafana goalkeeper. Brian Onyango is Kenyan captain, and Ricardo is a Brazilian import. Mudiba, extensive experience, Bafana International, Tapelo, you can go on, so it's not always about the quality. At times, we've got to shield them a little bit to take it. We make the decisions, we put them in the lineup, and we have to be accountable first and foremost. And I think they went into the game, the group, with a clear desire to win. We just made a lot of elementary mistakes. They punished us, and also sometimes we made far too many movements. Sometimes we moved too much into positions that closed the spaces against a team that's defensively very strong, and we could not just keep it simple in relation to our movements, simple in relation to our positioning. We tried to complicate it a little bit sometimes, and that could also be because of anxiety, over anxious, trying to prove. But good, after a long layoff, Brian gets some minutes, which will help us in the long run. Kuliso gets some minutes, Mudiba gets some minutes. That increases our options and the competitive profile of our squad. And even the young one, Promise, comes in and shows the capacity to be brave, to show personality on the pitch, and tries to pull the team, and that's good. It's good for us, and we have to sometimes also look at the positives. But we shield the players a little bit in this moment, and we have to take the responsibility for the results.
Good. If there are questions online,
The next month, like a total block.
Yeah. No, the next month is one game at a time. One game at a time. We knew we've got Chipper. Now it's time to think about Chipper. Already in the change room, we were collecting the games, and we want to try and see what is happening with Chipper United. Of course, their last result against Maritzburg was not the best of results, and we have to look into that. And then maybe also look at the performance against Orlando Pirates and see how much we can pick up from it.
Coach, if we have some questions online, anyone with your hands up, please go ahead. If not, no hands on. Can I get up? We'll take the last two questions, guys. Please go ahead.
I could just mention something. One of the very difficult things to tell you that Liverpool was the best.
No, our normal standard practice is to go into the last 3, 4, 5 games, and we will do that. When we see sometimes what's important with teams like Chippa particularly is that you do a lot of individual profiling, particularly in relation to the behavior of players in different moments of the game, and try to see how we can find possibilities to not just control the performance of the opposition, but put our imprint on the 90 minutes. A difficult team, very good side with very good players, and we've seen, particularly in certain moments of the season, that they can create a lot of problems for us. So we've got to go in there and okay, of course, good. The monkey's off our back a little bit now with this unbeaten record that everyone talks about, and it's good for the squad sometimes, to get a wake-up call and understand that we are not invincible, that without humility, without our feet firmly on the ground, the game of football can turn on its head, and sometimes These are the lessons you got to take because, like Nelson Mandela said, you don't lose, you learn, and it's important for us. If we lose the match over 90 minutes, we win with regards to the education, and we take the lessons. And the biggest lesson for today is complacency impregnates failure. And if we lack the humility and we lack the right focus for every single match, teams that have more hunger, more determination, and if we can't match that, we're going to have problems. And the good thing is it happens in a game where, to be honest, the result does not have a huge consequence on our season, except the fact that, of course, at Mamelodi Sundowns, we want to win football matches, and regardless of what game it is, we are disappointed when we don't win football matches because we have a huge responsibility to carry the name and the profile of the club. And in this moment, we're not happy with the result, but we take the lesson, and the lesson is a heavy lesson, but it's a lesson that I think we can budget for in this season. It's a lesson we can budget for.
Wrapping up, just remind you to please identify yourself.
I think there's a hand here.
One quickly from there.
Lot of defense from them. Oh.
Or something that a plan B perhaps going further in the competition with, might get team takes the early lead and take off the bus or the proverbial bus. So that's, what the ideas of how you going to counter that is very important to the competition.
Yeah, we faced that numerous times this season. TTM in the first round were very resolute. TP Mazembe, TTM in the previous match were very resolute, scored first, very similar sort of encounter, but we came back and we won the game 3-1. So sometimes these isolated incidents should not force us into panic. The reality is we've shown we have the character, the mental fortitude to grind results and come back even in difficult moments. Black Leopards away in Toyando, 1 man down, 1-0 down, and we come back and we won 2-1. So today we can take it as an isolated situation, but an isolated situation that's got a very important lesson from a psychological perspective, and not too much about tactics, because the reality is we have shown, the players have shown particularly, that they've got the character, they've got the ability to overturn results, and sometimes the universe offers you, and also offers you a bit of darkness.
The universe is talking.
The universe speaks to us a little bit, but it is what it is, and we take the lesson. And again, I say, apart from just tactical aspects of the game today, which of course are important, the intensity, the rhythm, and normally the lack of communication, because a lot of the players have not played together in every sector on our organizational form. We had new combinations, so it's not always easy to find cohesion, very good communication to be able to be dominant on the pitch. So we take it as an isolated situation from a tactical perspective, but again, like I reiterate, it's a very good lesson for us, and the timing, we thank God for that. The timing is good because we already qualified, but when you lose a game that's got no consequence, you can budget for it, but it's very important that the players are wise enough to take the lesson. It's very important.
We'll take this the one question from online from the hand earlier.
Thank you, Jermaine. Fidel from Frontrunner. Coach Rulani, is it safe to say that the technical team used this match to rotate players? And are you pleased with some of the players that came in that didn't usually play? Players like Abu Gif Mutupa. Thank you.
Thanks, Fidel. Yeah, football is a funny game. In the game against TTM, we tried to We were 1-0 down. We swapped our fullbacks. We overturned the result, and the people speak about us as being geniuses. When it works, good. When it doesn't work, what are these people doing? And that's the reality of the job that we find ourselves in. And similarly, also today, we win the game. Wow, very good rotation. Very good of the technical team to give opportunities to others. When it doesn't work, there's question marks on the selection. There's question marks on the decisions. And that is why we are coaches, and that's why we hold the responsibility. And hence, even earlier I said, before you even get to the players about performances and whether or not they put their hands up, the people that must be accountable for the result is us as coaches, and we have to put ourselves in that position, because if we don't, then we leave our players out to dry, and we don't do that. We love our players, all our players. We treat all of them the same, and we give equal opportunities to everybody. And when we don't win football matches, the first people to be accountable and responsible for that is us as coaches. And that is where we sit at this moment in time. Was the performance good enough? No. Do we deserve to win the game? No. But also in hindsight, a little bit, if you play this game 9 times out of 10, you get a better result, because apart from just the 2 mistakes, from a data perspective, we were very dominant. The utilization of the ball was not very, very good. The creation of chances was not very, very good. But because the tempo, the intensity of our play was not good enough, in possession and out of possession. Is it because the players didn't want to win the match? Absolutely not. But sometimes it's very difficult to be out, like Gift Mutupa, for an example, coming in as a sub. He's been out for 3, 4, 5 months, and he comes in and he has to help the team. But you could see there was a time where he pressed even 4 or 5 players. The willingness was there, and for us, with football, we look for these non-visible indicators that say to us the players are trying and they are doing their best. And yeah, it is what it is. We take it and we move on. There are positives, and the positives are a lot of the players that were on the pitch left the pitch without any sort of muscular complications, and then they get some minutes, and when they get some minutes, and not just Gift, you can even go on. Lisedi's been out with an injury and he's only come back for a couple of days with us at training. It's good to see them on the pitch. Brian and Yango, good to be on the pitch, and this allows them to be fit, to be strong, and to be ready to be called upon with good match condition. Because without that, then it's very difficult for us to go through, particularly with the schedule that we have, where the next game now is in 48 hours against Chippa away from home, and then we have to come back. We've got Pirates on Thursday. It's very, very difficult to play all these matches without everybody available and ready to perform. And the only way to be ready to perform is to be psychologically in the right space, to be physically prepared and in the right space with the right match conditions. And then when you're called upon, you've got to be able to assist and help the team without rotation, and rotating the squad and putting fresh legs on the pitch. With the schedule that we have, it's going to be very difficult. So there are some positives that are non-visible. And of course, these are positives that we as technicians, we look at. But over and above that, that doesn't overshadow the fact that we are disappointed with the result. And more than just that, we are disappointed with the performance, because we are people of process. And people of process focus on always making sure that the result is worthy of a victory. And then the football gods decide. But when you don't play well enough to win a football match, regardless of what the result is, then it comes back and it reflects back on us as coaches, and we have to take this one and move on.
Coach, the gods have spoken to us. Let's not tempt him any further. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, everyone.